Where is he?
Where are you? Skull Rock. Do you know it?
Hello, this is Stacy over at the Skull Rock podcast. I am joined by Fuck My Life. Okay, nope, trying again. Hello, this is Stacy over at the Skull Rock broadcast. I am joined by...
Hello, this is Megan, and welcome back to our Stranger Things podcast. You would think in season 4, Stacy would have that intro down, but I mean...
Listen, I probably have Buzzball still in my bloodstream. I'm fine.
Yeah, we had a fun celebration for Stacy's birthday yesterday.
It's great.
We're recording this on Monday this week because Stacy's birthday was yesterday, and it was so fun, and there were buzzballs involved and bad decisions, but
So many.
It was super fun. So happy birthday to Stacy.
Thank you.
And it's when you're listening to this, because, well, no, today, I don't know what I'm talking about. Today is September.
September 1st.
How do you feel about that?
Well, definitely going to miss the summer, not the heat. But now we're getting into spooky vibes and hopefully cooler weather. I'm back to work, which kind of blows, but whatever. Routine is routine. But we have a Joe show to look forward to in a couple weeks. You're actually going to come and visit, so you get you get to meet Sir Quinn in person.
First time at Stacy's house. That's
So,
exciting.
I'm very excited to show you the house and around, and we're going to do the Connecticut show, and then we're going to do All Things Go, the festival. That's going to be a wild weekend. I know you got a lot of...
Joe.
All Things Joe. That's so clever. And I know you got a lot of shows coming up. We're going to have a busy fall, and we're going to be getting spooky and counting down to season 5.
Yes. So we definitely have a lot going on. I'm actually seeing Finn in concert in 2 weeks.
That's really cool.
That's going to be exciting. And then, at the end of the month, coming to visit you and going to the Joe show and the festival, and then a couple more Joe shows in October.
I love that.
Yeah, I'm super excited, and it's going to be such a fun couple months, and it's going to be a busy couple months, but we're going to do our best to get season 4 under our belts before season 5 comes out. So that's the goal.
We got this. We're
going to do it. We're going to do it. And I was feeling so emotional today about starting season 4. And I don't know, it's just like it was the season that kind of, kicked off this obsession for me, for sure. And just the fact that like we on this podcast have finally gotten to season 4, because that's like a long time coming. And the fact that like once we get through season 4, season 5 will be here, and it's going to be here like so quickly before we even know it, I feel like. So I don't know. It's just got me in my feels for sure.
Oh, no, 100%. I was feeling the same way. Like, this show clearly means a lot to us. And, it just seems like yesterday that it was over Christmas break. It was still December. And it was December 2023, I want to say. And literally, you were like, hey, we're both on break. You want to start this up? And I didn't know how my microphone worked. So I just kind of like stabbed it in between the cushions of my couch. It was a mess. And, that was a really hard holiday for me because it was the first one since my father passed. And I got to tell you, it was the perfect distraction that we started this up. And I would never have believed in a million years, just how much fun we had and how many amazing people we've met through this podcast and all of the fun episodes that we've done, the fact that we met some cast members. And, it's just really like, I'm a huge, spot of pride between the two of us. I'm really glad that we've got to season 4 because, like, season 4 for me, I mean, I was always a fan of the show, but season 4 is what really blew it up. And it's just really cool. And the fact that we're just counting down to season 5, like, even when I hear the song used in the trailer for season 5, goosebumps. Like, that's how in my feels I feel.
Yeah. And I completely agree with everything that you just said, just like the opportunities that we've had and the people that we've connected with on this podcast, but also not really knowing when season 5 was going to come out for so long and not really knowing if we would get through all of our rewatch before season 5. Just the fact that like we did, and it just
Yeah.
lined up so perfectly. And now also the fact that we'll be able to kind of like process season 5 together, like, because we didn't even know each other when season
No.
4 came out.
Isn't
Like,
it crazy?
yeah, that's insane.
Guys, I'm telling you, like, I remember what during Fan Expo Philly, I was like, I felt like, and I'm not trying to like blow smoke up your ass, Megan, but
You always do. It's okay.
I always do. I remember I was like, I felt like I was meeting a celebrity. And there was like this long time internet friend, my friend Chad, who I love dearly. I met him for the first time after years at the convention, but I felt kind of bad because I was like so pumped to meet you. And Brandy was like, relax. And I'm like, no, you don't understand, because I've been following you since you started the Steady Stories account. And I'm like, this girl.
Which was September of 2022.
It's coming up your
Yeah.
anniversary.
Yeah.
So I just
September
remember,
11th, I think.
it's
which-
it's definitely September 11th, so
Yeah.
never forget. Jesus Christ.
I don't know why I thought that was a great idea.
Whenever you were like, this is my anniversary, I'm like, well, there you go. But I just remember like meeting you and you had your edits and you handed them to me, and literally like just sitting down and being able to just talk with you. I was so jazzed, and I'm just so glad that a few months later you and I had a conversation over the phone, and we're like, it's pretty good rapport. Like,
Yeah.
we both love it. This is a huge hyperfixation, and we're like, huh. So I always say that's when the little pebble that was Skull Rock began to
Yeah.
roll up that hill. So here we are, but it's going to be a fun ride. It's going to be crazy because
Yeah.
time's going to go by really quick. But we are starting our first deep dive of season 4, episode 1,
The
The
Hellfire,
Hellfire Club.
I'm wearing my shirt. Did you notice?
Look at you.
You know.
Damn, I'm wearing an Eddie shirt. So.
Yeah, that's like a season 4 shirt for sure because it's Eddie.
It's nice because it's baggy.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's called The Hellfire Club. Also, one more thing that I want to say about season 5. We decided that this is kind of teasing like where we're going at the end of our season 4 of our podcast, because we'll get through the deep dive, but then when the new episodes come out, we're obviously not going to do like deep dives immediately.
Yeah.
We're just going to do kind of like initial reactions, and we're going to call those episodes group therapy.
Yep.
So stay tuned for some group therapy, because I feel like we're all going to need group therapy as we go through season 5 together. So that'll be fun. But yeah, let's get into this episode.
Let's get into it. Season 4, Episode 1, The Hellfire Club. It premiered May 27th, 2022. It was Memorial Day weekend. And I will never forget, literally, I had to order a Domino's pizza that the order was so wrong. I meant to get a Philly cheesesteak, and they just put like shaved steak over marinara. But I was
Gross.
I was disgusting. I ended up puking it up the next day when I went to go see Top Gun. But I ate it because I'm a raccoon. But I just remember racing home. My dad was still alive at the time, and I was like, we are watching this and you are not saying one goddamn word. And it was just this huge event. And I remember like I got all my snacks and I got everything ready and I just binge watched it. And I think I made it to the episode before the dive, I want to say. And
Okay.
literally, it was such a cliffhanger, but my dad was like, I'm going to bed. And I ended up finishing volume 1 the next day before I had to go see Top Gun and throw up in the parking lot. But I binged.
With your dad? Too,
No,
the
I
next
ended up.
day?
I went with a friend of mine.
No, did you watch it with him?
Yeah, I watched it with my dad. But I
Okay.
remember like that night, we stopped on the episode where it's the cliffhanger of Steve getting like attacked by the bats. And I just
Yeah.
turned and looked at my father and I went, no, this can't happen. They cannot take Steve from us. And I should have like immediately gone and watched the next episode, but we were just so tired. But it was really cute because me and my dad like watched it. And of course, he had lots of questions. I'm like, you gotta stop asking questions. But I was referring to Eddie as the drug dealer. And it was just like, I remember like this episode especially. And maybe this is a little preview, for maybe an upcoming episode, wink, wink. It reminded me heavily of the Nightmare on Elm Street movies.
Yeah.
Especially this episode.
I'm super excited to watch those movies this week, I guess.
Yep, we're going to watch them.
I don't know. I guess it'll be next weekend after I finish editing the first 2 episodes of this season. But on a little bit of a heavier note, what I remember about watching this episode was I think there was like a shooting that happened.
Yes, there was this shooting in Texas. Yep.
Yeah, right that week, right before this came out. And so there was like this like disclaimer that they put up.
Yep.
Like just warning people, like a content trigger warning that there was going to be like violence with children.
With children, yeah.
Yeah, like right in that first episode because of what happens like in the lab. Because it doesn't really start off on a very like light note. It's kind of heavy. We open on like a neighborhood and there's a newspaper delivery boy like throwing newspapers from a bicycle.
At first I was like, wow, this kid's, aim is really sucking to suck, but he ends up, one lands on a porch and we see an unknown man. He, wink, wink. He picks it up and stuff and we see almost like a morning routine and serial killer behavior.
Yeah, for sure. Like the little snipping of the plants and like
the bonsai tree
tea and
doesn't he time himself to do a crossword puzzle?
He times himself to do the crossword puzzle. Yep, that's in the newspaper. I don't know if there's anything else that you have noticed from the crossword puzzle, but people pointed this out and I just kind of like remembered it. 54 down, but it might be 54 across. I'm not sure. Is the clue was the wife of Shiva, and the answer is Kali, Kali. So that was just interesting because it's like a little Easter egg for Callie or Kali.
If she comes back,
yeah, who's number 8, right?
She's 8.
Yeah. But we do see that. Eventually, we see that it's Dr. Brenner.
Yeah, he ends up shaving, which, boys, I don't know how you do it. And he, which always makes me wonder because I don't know what happened, like, literally from when, like, Elle's mom broke into the lab, which was like, all right, so if Ella's 8 during this, it was when she was, like, a toddler. So, literally 5 years. If you're, 5, 6 years.
Yeah.
He had dark hair. I don't know. Something must have happened because he is like, did the clown from It scare him? His hair is completely white. And I'm like,
yeah, it makes me think of, have you ever seen the like Fantastic Beasts movies and like Jude Law plays Dumbledore? And he's like so hot and young. And then it's like 5 years later, Dumbledore is like, has this like white beard and long white hair.
Something happened.
Like people are like, what was this transition? Like the time frame in between those two like time frames was not that long for this to happen.
Something must have happened. We see a title card and it's September 8th, 1979.
Right. Because you don't see that at the beginning because I guess they're trying to leave it like ambiguous of like when it is and who it is. But when we show up at the lab, we do see the date. And we go pretty much right to the rainbow room.
That rainbow room got an upgrade.
Renovation. Exactly.
I love that bothered you. You were like, that thing is like, what happened? I'm like, maybe they got more money in their budget. I don't know.
Exactly. So in the rainbow room, all the kids are like playing with their different games and puzzles and stuff.
What would you be doing in the rainbow room? I'd be doing the Plinko game.
Plinko for sure.
Yeah.
I love some Plinko, especially on The Price is Right.
Oh,
Or no, is that what it's called? Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. The Price is Right.
Man, tap dancing. But we see that some of them are like using their powers to spin tops. One's using their
playing chess.
Psychopaths. I will
Yeah.
never forget. My father taught my sister how to play chess, but never taught me. So
I never learned how to play chess.
I was
either.
always so envious, but I'm really good at checkers. So
Yeah,
whatever.
Checkers all day.
Checkers
like-
all day, people. That's why you need to watch Overboard. Like, please keep this in. There's a scene where Kurt Russell's like at a mental hospital and he's like waiting on Goldie Hawn and he's sitting next to a guy playing checkers. And literally every time the guy moves the checkers, he puts it in his mouth and eats it. And you just see Kurt Russell kind of look. And then later on, Goldie Hawn comes out. She's all disgusted. And she's sitting next to that guy. And she goes, "Eat your checkers." So that guy should have been in there. But yeah, so we end up panning to a boy who later on we're revealed is number 10. And he's got a magic 8-ball.
Yes. So Brenner asks him if he wants to like go do some lessons, and he doesn't answer verbally. He shakes the magic 8-ball to decide, I guess.
All signs point to yes. Could you imagine he shakes it and it says no, and Brenner's like, "Well, you don't have a choice."
Exactly. So they go to like a little testing room thing, but they pass a room with 11 on it on the way there.
Oh, yeah.
And they pass like Dr. Ellis,
which I thought was the same woman that shoots Benny in season 1, but I don't think it is.
No, I didn't think so, but I didn't really focus on her too much either.
Mm-hmm. What are they doing?
So I guess they're testing out Ten's powers, and Brenner, he has his eyes closed, and Brenner is like drawing little pictures.
I want to get the dog cow tattooed on me.
That's a little bit of an obscure reference.
Right?
The sunshine is cute, though. Maybe I get the sun and you get the dog cow.
Beautiful. Deal.
That would be like the best.
How funny would that be?
Podcast partner tattoos
right?
ever. And then we could show Matthew Modine and he would love it.
Yeah, he would love it. Yep.
But yeah, so yeah, he's trying to like see what it is like through his mind's eye, I guess.
Yeah.
And then Brenner asks him to do something a little harder.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, look for Dr. Ellis and 6. And he sees them and he sees them die, basically.
Yeah, suddenly he's like, something's wrong. And you just start hearing like banging and screams. And then the alarm goes off. So when Brenner tries to like call for help, it's almost like a distorted, like you can't get the signal through. And he then hears screams coming from outside the door. And I don't know, like the door like implodes and hits him and it cuts to black.
Yeah. Right before that, though, he does call and he's like, Peter, Alec, what's going on out there? And they're like, we've got a situation. And then it goes to static. And it was just interesting to me because I think Peter Ballard was like the name that they gave to like disguise Jamie's character or something like that. I don't remember the exact details of this, but like then also Peter is the name that they ask Owen and Owen's wife at his house later this season. I'm like so obsessed with that because I'm like, who is fucking Peter? Like
Peter Pumpkin Eater.
Yeah. So I don't know. But just that's the mention of Peter.
Yeah. So he wakes up. He
wakes up.
He got fucked. Like literally there's blood on his face and stuff. And he gets up and the lights are flickering. It's very scary. And he sees that 10 didn't make it. And he's very upset. And he like, it kind of like it's an emotional moment because he almost like cradles him in his arms, like as though this was his child. And he gets up and he starts going down the hallway and there's like blood smears all over the wall.
Carnage.
Yeah. There's a ton of dead kids and stuff and orderlies. And he ends up making it to the Rainbow Room. And we see a child in like a hospital gown, like all the other kids. And their back is turned to him. And it's like they're looking through the broken frame of a two-way mirror. And the child turns, and I have to say, like, the digital work on this was pretty good. I'm usually pretty judgy about it, but it's meant to be an 8-year-old 11, and, like, around their eyes is all blood and stuff. And he looks pissed. And he's like, what did you do? And then he like screams and he demands it. He's like, what did you do?
Right.
Cut
So
to
he
black.
automatically assumes that like Elle was the one that did this. And she does look very small and angry is how like I like described it. Like
She went through a lot later on. We
Yeah.
find out.
yeah, we later on find out what actually happened, but like I feel like this whole like arc of her throughout this season where she's kind of discovering what happened during that incident.
It's like she blocked it out. Yeah.
She blocked it out, but also she thinks that she was the person to do that for a while.
Those are some
And
of the first
us
memories.
as viewers, like for the rest of this episode, when she's like angry and stuff, we're meant to think that she had actually done this terrible thing at the very beginning.
Yeah.
Like,
Because there's an episode, I believe it's called The Monster, where literally she's trying to tell Mike, she's like, I am the monster.
which that's from season 1.
Season 1, yep.
Yeah.
Where literally, and we see like, we'll talk about it when we get to that episode, but Elle does snap at one point in this season and unleashes a little bit of anger without her power. And
Yeah.
you're meant to be like, oh, did she do this? So
Exactly.
it's very interesting. But we cut to black, opening credits, and we open to a cover of California Dreamin'. And it's a really cool panning shot. And I do love that the door was open 3 inches.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
Right in the feels. And we pan to her room, and there's this like weird suitcase shrine of Mike.
Yeah.
That's the best way to describe it. And there's this like voiceover of Elle, and it's almost like, Dear Mike. So it's a letter that she's writing him. And she's working on a visual aid, and it seems to be like she's painting a little mini Hopper, which is adorable. And it kills me. I think they sort of did like this inside joke about people working from home with COVID, because Joyce now sells encyclopedias over the phone. I do love that she's like, you do realize I'm not a robot. And she ends up hanging up, and she's like, prick. And a friend of mine once went, how can he afford that house? Well, you hear Owens later on tell Elle that, like, he was responsible for the relocation. So not only did she sell her house in Hawkins, but also I'm sure there was a little bit of payoff money. And I think the government relocated them to that big house in California.
Right. And I think whatever money that Hopper had left for Elle,
Yeah.
because that's what he was trying to get. We'll find out later in the season. That's the money that he's trying to like get to like pay for them to like break him out. I think like he promises them money.
No, we'll get
Right?
we'll get to that, but no, they like, so the Russian who's helping him is like, okay, I need X amount of money, and Joyce goes
Yeah.
to the bank and pulls it
And
out.
gets it.
That's her money. That's not Hop's.
I thought it was Elle's Hop's money that he left for Elle.
We'll watch, but I think you're wrong.
Okay, we'll see.
If you
I
are,
don't know
that-
why
If you are,
I
that's
thought
cool.
that. Yeah,
Damn,
but
Will is painting.
hold on. There was a part that I wanted to point out because when it's the voiceover of her letter to Mike, she talks about how emotions make time speed up or slow down, and she says that we are all time travelers in
Uh-oh.
that sense. So there's a little bit of like time travel connection there because we've talked about how we think that could be a thing in season 5.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and she's talking about how Will is like working on something that he won't show her, and
Maybe it's for a girl, and I'm like, oh,
yeah.
honey, honey.
And Will and Jonathan is smoking weed.
Like, oh, that entire room is just filled with smoke, and he's frantically trying to wave something to get it out. And I love that literally she's like, he says it is healthy because they are plants that come from the ground, but don't tell Joyce.
Yeah.
Dying.
It's really funny. And I think it's funny when we see the pizza van like speeding into the driveway to pick them up. But as they're walking out of the house, you see that Will did his project
Mhm.
on Alan Turing. He was a English mathematician, computer scientist, highly influential in the development of computer science
Mhm.
with like algorithms and computation.
Wow.
And he was gay and ended up committing suicide, which is like
That's a bummer.
a
Yeah.
little intense.
Yep.
But the fact that like that's who Will chose to do his project of like who his hero was is a little bit of a choice.
Yeah, and Elle's just got her visual aid with Mr. Fibley off, and she's living her life. And I love that we get introduced to Argyle, who clearly works for Surfer Boy Pizza. He's got longer hair, longer than even Elle's. And we do see Jonathan's car, but it's broken, and it's like
Yeah.
really rusty.
I was like, I don't know how he's going to get to college because his car is broken. So it's basically her little like voiceover in this letter to Mike is like setting us up with their like whole life there. Because then they get to school and she's like talking about how she has made all of these friends.
I'm sorry. So this breaks my heart. So they all go to this high
Yeah.
school, but I'm sorry. This girl was in a lab less than 3 years ago, and they have her as a freshman in high school. Joyce, again, choices. And first of all, her going down the hallway and waving to the girl that clearly isn't waving to her, and then getting into the crowded homeroom and like people aren't moving for her, and then that little shit does the spitball tour with Angela.
Yeah.
Prick. And in my head, I'm like, this girl, and she's like, I am best at math. And I'm like, sweetie, well, no, you should not be there. Like, oh my God. The
I know. Poor
anxiety.
thing.
But she says that spring break's coming up and Mike's going to come. And she's like, this is going to be the best spring break ever. Well,
Yeah, because this is like the first time she's been in school too, right?
yeah,
Like
what were they thinking?
she like because in season 1, obviously not in school. Season 2, she's like hiding in Hop's cabin the whole
Same with
year.
season 3, if you think about
Season
it.
3, she's living in the cabin, but it's summer. I guess maybe they had the intentions of enrolling her in school. I've heard people actually talk about this, like, did they enroll in school in the fall? Because they didn't move until like Thanksgiving or like later,
No,
like a
in
few months
October, yeah.
later. Yeah. So like, were they enrolled in school before they moved to California? Like, I don't know. So anyway, you find out that like this whole voiceover is actually like Mike has been reading
Yeah.
Elle's letter in bed in his underwear.
Notice that the paper that he's reading, it has rainbows on it.
Oh,
Mhm.
good catch.
Yep.
But Nancy busts down his door and is like, "You're not ready. Like, we're
Did
gonna
you-
be late."
Did you like her Emerson shirt?
Yeah, her Emerson shirt. I love that outfit actually.
Yeah,
like, of
me too.
hers. That's one of her cuter outfits, like that purple t-shirt, like tucked into like the skirt.
Mhm.
It's cute.
You have 30 seconds. Yeah.
Yeah, so he throws on his Hellfire shirt because he has Hellfire that night,
Yep.
and some jeans, I guess.
Gets a Pop-Tart.
Gets a Pop-Tart real quick, and his parents are giving him shit and telling him he has to be home early from D&D club, or
The
as
6:30
Ted-
flight, Mike.
Ted likes to call it, the high school dropout.
Ted's a fucking prick. Yeah, as soon as he said that, I was like, you're a fucking prick. Okay.
Yeah,
I'm getting mad.
But he's not like doing much for his redemption arc in this episode.
No.
But they tell him he has to be home early because he has a very early flight
Yep.
to California. So you find out he's planning on going to visit for spring break.
We then cut to Dustin's, and apparently you don't need Cerebro up on that big ass hill anymore.
No.
He's reworked it, and it's bolted to his roof. And he is talking to Miss Susie, and I like, goddamn. And I'm really impressed that like Hawkins High has a computer database, but times are changing. And she hacks into like the database, Tigers86, that's the password. And she ends up saying that he has a D in Latin. And she's like, yikes, Dusty. And I love when Mrs. Henderson almost like walks in. He's like, I'm naked. So
Yeah.
right away she looks, Susie looks at, Jesus, her figure of Jesus. And she's like, I will repent later. And she changes his grade. Look at what little shits they are.
Yeah. I guess she feels a little guilty, but then we cut to the BMW with a sunroof
Fuck you.
driving down the road as Steve is on his way to take Robin to school.
So sweet. I just love that he's doing that before work. He's bringing
Yeah.
his best friend to school.
And actually, this may just be like a continuity error, but people have said like the hours for Family Video, it like does not open that early.
No, so he got up
he
early
has
to
gotten
do it.
up early to take Robin to school because he doesn't even have to be at work that early.
He loves his best friend, okay?
He does. And she's not really paying attention to him as he like laments about his dating life because she's putting on makeup. She said she like woke up looking like a corpse and that she has this pep rally. And he's like, you're not worried about the pep rally. Like, come on. But she is stressed about Vicky, her crush.
And right away, he's like, Vicky is like you, and she's like, we don't know that because it's a risk. And right away, he's like, no. She paused and returned fast times at exactly 53 minutes, 5 seconds. You want to know what kind of people do that? People who like
People
boobies.
who like boobies.
I love
that's like the scene when the girl's like getting out of the pool.
Yeah,
right?
Phoebe Cates, she gets out. Judge Ryan Hall has like this little fantasy where she gets out in slow motion out of the pool, tits out. It's actually kind of hot. And literally, I love the outtakes of Joe and Maya. They're like, how many times are we saying boobies? And Robin's like, don't say boobies. And he's like, I like boobies. You like boobies. Vicky likes boobies. And then there's like a pause and he goes, boobies.
It's boobies. Like, I tried to post that as a reel on Instagram, and Instagram like muted my reel because
he says boobies.
I had said boobies so many times. I was like,
Instagram, lighten up.
Censorship.
I love that he drops her off at like the parent drop off. And I'm sorry, like Robin, like say goodbye to your best friend. Instead, she like spots someone and she's like, hey, wait up. And I'm like, poor Steve.
Yeah, all the transitions are so like flowy though in this episode because as like Robin's running away, a bus pulls up and Max gets off that bus.
Wearing her headphones.
Yep, you see her and you see the guidance counselor,
Miss Kelly.
Miss Kelly. She's like greeting people, directing them into the gym, and she calls Max over and was like, "Oh, I missed you," and she's like, "I'd like for you to come see me today." So you don't really know who she is yet at that point, but then we find out she was the guidance counselor.
That pep rally, I'm sorry, we had pep rallies in high school. This was like over the freaking top.
It really was. Like the marching band was good. Like they had a good marching band. The cheerleaders were really good. And then we get like the basketball team come out. I also love that Max goes to sit with Mike and Dustin.
Yeah, and Mike and Dustin.
We've talked about that before, I think.
Yeah, that they still have this kind of friendship, and right away we see Dustin and Mike, they're bickering who has a cooler girlfriend, and literally Mike's like, Elle has saved the world 3 times. And Dustin's like, yeah, you still have a C, and in English. So Max sits down and we see for the first time ever, we'll end up meeting her better, but we meet Chrissy Cunningham, head of the cheer squad, and Jason Carver is the basketball captain. And I love when we did trivia with
Mason Dye.
Mason, and he was like, they just said literally ham it up and act like an asshole. And he really is, if you think about it. He's trying to do this big rousing, speech, and he's going on and on, but he it's like, we're gonna win for the people who died in the fire. And he he starts naming people, including the chief, including Heather, and then he says Billy, and we see Lucas kind of first Lucas tried to wave to Max and she completely ignored him. So clearly they're not on great terms. And he kind of right away looks at her face and she looks really uncomfortable. So clearly this is a sore subject. And just, I don't know, it's just the music's wonderful, but you kind of see the look of disgust on Mike and Dustin and Max's faces as everyone's going crazy. We're going to win the championship. But then it hits them and they go, the championship tonight, and Max is like, yeah, that's how it works.
That's how a tournament works.
Yeah, and right away they look like, oh shit, what are we gonna do? But it's really just one of those scenes where you're like, this is disgusting,
Yeah, it's just using that actual trauma and terrible thing that happened in the town to like get people excited about something as trivial as like a basketball game.
Yeah.
Like that just like contrast of that is just like feels morally like gross. But it is like the first time that you're finding out that Lucas is on the basketball team too.
Yeah.
And right after this, you see Dustin and Mike kind of like confronting him like, what about D&D tonight? Like, what about Hellfire Club? Like, we have to play in this campaign. Like, and you kind of understand where Lucas is coming from though, because he's like, I'm tired of being bullied. I'm tired of girls laughing at us. Like, it's like a conflict there between them because they're growing up and they're sort of wanting different things.
I really don't like Mike and Dustin in this scene because they say something ridiculous like, why don't you ask the coach to move the game? You're on the bench anyways all the time. They're kind of little pricks, and Lucas kind of like pours his heart out to them, being like, guys, please just talk to Eddie, who we've yet to meet. Let's move the the D&D game. And he like asks them, he goes, please come to my game. Assholes.
Right. So, yeah, it's kind of like, it's a tough scene to watch. And that's what I was like saying about this episode before we started recording. Like, I do love this episode, and I've said it's one of my favorite episodes before, but like, there's like a couple moments in it that I love a lot, but a lot of it is actually kind of hard to watch.
It's tough to watch, especially with like characters' decisions, some of the content, kind of like
some
the
of
subject
the
matter.
like conflicts between these characters that we've like grown to love over 3 seasons, and then they've like changed, and like their relationship dynamics have changed, and it's like it's just hard to like see them like that, and it's hard to see Mac so sad. But yeah, it's kind of an intense episode. But we go back out to California, and Joyce is on the phone, but the mailman pulls up at the house, and you see him like go to the door, and he has a package for her, but she's really worried about Jonathan's acceptance letter. And the mailman, you can tell that they know each other, and he's like, no, usually they make you wait until like the end of the week for these types of things. And I just love the whole selling the encyclopedias thing, because like, did you have encyclopedias in your house as a kid?
I maybe had 1 or 2. I'm not too sure.
No, we had like the whole set of
course
like,
you did.
book encyclopedias, and like the children's ones too.
Yeah.
They were, it's like, I wonder if my parents like bought them like through like a telemarketer that called, probably.
They're nice Joyce buyers, you know?
Yeah. But like it was like alphabetical. Like, so you had like one book for each like letter. And
wow.
Like, I could do like school projects and like research things in the encyclopedia right in my house. But the kids ones were really fun too, because it like you could look up things, but it was like written in like more like kid language.
We had very different childhoods, and this really explains it.
We had encyclopedias. You had Stephen King.
We had Stephen King books. Yeah, this is what you get. You get a Stacy and you get a Megan. But I noticed that when she opens up the package and she pulls out this like porcelain doll, and I love how like the Russian music starts playing, and she looks down and she kind of clocks the stamps with the sickle and the star. So
yeah,
clearly,
she opens that box so chaotically too.
That's kind of how I open up packages. I'm not going to judge. So we're back at the school, and the human equivalent of a turd is doing a slideshow presentation of Helen Keller.
I hate this because I like Helen Keller.
Oh, yeah. The Miracle Worker is like a great movie.
I was in that play in like high school. We did the play of The Miracle Worker.
We actually had last year, it was like a 1-woman show about Helen Keller. This woman was really good, but like she really got into it, and we had our second graders watching it. And there was like a scene where she's playing like Helen Keller when she's younger, and there was a chocolate cake, and she like smeared it all over her face, and my kids were fucking gagged. They were like, oh! And I'm like, I'm living for it. Like literally not watching any of the kids. I'm like, this is amazing. So that's what we were doing. But literally like, so she ends it, and it's just so ridiculous. And I have to say, the teacher, like when she goes, I'd hate to be who's going to follow that. A girl, and also absolutely no classroom management whatsoever.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I hate that teacher so much.
she's really shitty. As two people in the education business, we were
Yeah.
gagged. But she
Yeah.
reaches into like her big fish bowl and she pulls out Eleven's name, and Will is like Jane, excuse me. And you can tell that like right away Will is like sweating bullets, and she gets up with her presentation, and I'll never.
Well, and there's this like girl trying to like play footsie
Girl.
with Will.
She like Will shut that shit down immediately. He's like, no, we're not doing this. And Jane gets to the front of the classroom, and I'll never forget. I watched this scene with Jeanette, of all people, who had just visited. And when she goes, I made a diorama, and the fucking little shit that loves Angela with the spitballs went more like diarrhea. And Jeanette goes, if I was that teacher, I would have said, I'll give you fucking diarrhea. And I go, Jeanette, no, this is why you're not in the education business. But like, just like right away, she's like, settle down. I'm like, you suck at your job. And it's just, this is a moment where it's like, it's so like you feel so bad, the secondhand embarrassment, because she does have
so hard to watch.
She does have the mind of a child, you know, because she hasn't been exposed to much, and she's really vulnerable, and she's talking about her father, and right away Angela is just ripping her apart, being like, I thought this was supposed to be about famous people. Oh, he's in your local paper, and like it's just horrible. And you see she's near tears, and when she storms out of the classroom afterwards, literally Will is like, it wasn't that bad, and she's like, friends don't lie. And we hear the beginning of Kate Bush's running up that hill.
Yeah, this was, I think, my favorite transition in the episode, because you start hearing running up that hill playing as Elle is crying and walking down the hallway at school, and then we like just smoothly transition into Max walking down the hallway at school. And it's kind of like they're both going through such like struggles, but they're not together. And it's like
it's almost like they sort of needed each other.
They needed each other so much in this time frame. And then like I just hope that their relationship is a focus of season 5, because like I feel like they got to be close in season 3, and that was like one of our favorite parts, and just to have them separated for most of this season, but then to have those moments at the end that were really pivotal
with
like,
her protecting her. Yeah,
so that was a cool transition and kind of set up a lot for the season. But you see Max actually sees Chrissy come out of the guidance counselor's office
not looking
before
too
she
good.
Goes in.
Yeah,
she looks pretty upset. But she goes in and she turns off her Walkman, and that was like where the music had been playing from.
Yeah.
So they talk about Max's grades. Miss Kelly asks about her mom, if she's still drinking, and Max is kind of defensive, like she works two jobs. She's like has a hard time. She hates our new place. They talk about Neil, her stepdad, being gone, and how Max thinks it's better. But when she asks if she's still having like headaches, nightmares, trouble sleeping, you see Max like having flashbacks of like Billy's death.
It's
and like,
Starcourt, yeah.
Yeah. Obviously she's not okay, but she's sort of like lying to Mrs. Kelly and just being like, yeah, I'm fine. So that was just hard to watch.
Like
too.
right away, you know, like her mental health isn't that great. And she goes to leave kind of in a hurry afterwards. And you see Lucas was waiting. And he kind of like, you know, tries to give her a ticket to the game. And
yeah,
he's like,
I like how she says, like, what are you like stalking me or something? Because that's kind of a callback to the very beginning of their relationship.
Yep.
So yeah, in season 2 when she calls him stalker and stuff.
And right away we kind of learn like they broke up. And he's worried about her. He tells her, like, you know, you're not the same anymore. It's almost like you're a ghost. And she kind of, you know, shuts him down right away. And he senses that something is wrong. And she gives him, you know, the ticket back, and she wishes him luck. And she goes into the girls' room. And the girls' room looks dreary and frightening as fuck. Like,
yeah,
where's
the lighting?
The lighting?
Like, that wasn't the same girls' room that Nancy and Steve were making out in season 1.
Definitely not, man.
But she takes some Tylenol in there, and then she like actually ends up hearing Chrissy throwing up. She asks if she's all right, and Chrissy just tells her to go away. So Max leaves.
Yeah. And with Chrissy, like, I will fully admit, I originally thought, like, she's pregnant, like, she's got morning sickness. But you start to piece it together, especially by, like, what she, in her head, she hears her mother saying, like, oh, I let this dress out, you know, you're going to look beautiful, starts calling her a fat little pig. So clearly this has to do with eating disorder and purging and stuff. And, you know, it's heavy subject matter, obviously. This is what was haunting Chrissy. This was what was, like, her dark thoughts. And she starts hearing banging on the stall door. She sees these, like, deformed monster feet. She hears her she hears her mother.
I literally had monster feet in my notes as well.
I love that. And, you know, starts screaming, and she starts, like, covering her ears, cowering, you know, next to the toilet, going, go away, go away. And then it just stops.
Like, what we know is Vecna, they're yelling, like, can you hear me? Like, so weird. But when she comes out of the stall, everything's quiet, like you said. And then I was a teenage werewolf.
This was such a great transition, because by the Cramps, I was a teenage werewolf starts playing, and you hear this deep, kind of sexy voiceover going, the devil has come to America. And we cut to the cafeteria, and we see the owner of that voice. And they are
his face is hidden at first behind the Newsweek magazine.
Reading Newsweek, which is basically touching upon satanic panic. And it was really big and rapid at that time. And he's reading about, you know, all these things and how they're blaming this, you know, fantasy game to all these things. And the Newsweek magazine goes down, and who do we reveal?
Eddie Munson.
Eddie Munson.
So you see him reading that, and then you see Dustin and Mike kind of come into the cafeteria, and they're like nervous to talk to him. They're like, oh, he seems like he's really revved up. And Mike's like, he's always revved up. Like, let's just go. And you see Eddie like walking on the table, doing his balls and laundry basket speech.
I'm telling you, like, first of all, their lunch looked disgusting when they sat their trays down. I was like, damn. But literally, when he's up on the table doing his big speech, I truly believe if it had been played by anybody else, it would have come across as they're being an asshole. But with Joseph Quinn, and, you know, we do an episode where we talk about how nobody else could play it, he does it to a point that it's charming almost. And we have the iconic devil horns and tongue out when, you know, Jason Carver is like, you know, you want something, freak? And right away he does it. And it's almost like he's not letting these popular jocks get under his skin. He's a third-time senior. He's been around, and it's almost like he knows he's getting under their skin, but, like, right away, Jason Carver, like, backs down. He's just like, prick, and sits down. And you can tell that all the members of Hellfire Club, they, like, really look up to him and stuff. And that's when, right away, and I do love that he's, like, a gentleman when he gets down. He lets the cheerleaders by, and he sits down. He's, like, eating his pretzels next to his lunchbox, which is full of drugs. And I love that Dustin very nervously tries to break the news that Lucas will not be making it to the game tonight.
Right. And he's not super happy about that request to postpone the Cult of Vecna, which is his campaign that they've been, like, playing the whole, like, season or whatever, the whole school year. And the whole, like, all the other people are, like, yelling about it too, and he's like, okay, quiet, guys. Like, he's like, let me just, like, explain this. Like, I'm gonna be leaving this year. I'm gonna be graduating. Yeah. We get the iconic, like, this is my year, 86 baby. And he's telling them that, like, they're the future of Hellfire. Yeah. And that, like, when he first found them, like, they were, like, lost little sheep, and we have the, like, line that we kind of referenced a couple episodes ago with, like, how Dustin was wearing a Weird Al shirt,
which was brave,
and which was really brave, and Mike was wearing whatever his mom bought him at the Gap, and he basically tells them that, like, they have to find a sub for Lucas, like,
which makes sense.
Go out there, get your Bo Peeps on, and find a sub. Like, we're not going to postpone for this basketball game.
So really cool introduction to an iconic character. We got to Joyce. She's calling Murray, who just came back from karate, and she's telling him about the package and explaining it to him. He does, like, an ice plunge, and he's, like, groaning and moaning. She realizes that the porcelain doll has nipples, and basically they figure out that what they're going to have to do, because you can see there's almost like a crack going down the doll, is smash it.
Right. Just in case it's like an explosive situation. In shop class, which did you take shop class?
No.
You didn't?
I should not have been around saws. We'll leave it at
Like,
that.
so you never had shop class?
There was shop, but like I never.
But you just never took it?
No.
I feel like we had to. Like, I took it in middle school and high school.
No, I was doing like screen printing and shit like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was kind of fun.
What did you make?
I made a little shelf and I made like a birdhouse, like which is basically what they were making.
You didn't make a weeder?
Not a weeder.
I was impressed with that. That was some good craftsmanship.
That was pretty impressive. Like, because making those things in shop class was not easy.
I will never forget my screen printing teacher, Mr. Schamberger. He's probably dead now. May he rest. And I remember, like, his wife's pearl necklace broke. And he was like, go down to the shop teacher and ask if they can fix this with glue. And I'm like, they're not, like, no. I had to go in there. It smelled like sawdust. And you can tell the shop teacher was over Schamberger's bullshit. And he's holding the pearl necklace. He goes, what the fuck am I supposed to do with this? And I go, I don't know. He just asked me to bring it in. He goes, there's no glue that can fix this. Tell him no. And I had to walk all the way back, having like a panic attack. And I'm like, Schamberg. That's what we called him. I go, Schamberg. I go, he wasn't going for it. And he goes, he can't even use Gorilla Glue. And I was like, he said for you to do it. So I'm like, literally bright red, like having a panic attack. And like nobody took screen printing besides me and like 5 other guys. So literally like they're all laughing. And I'm like, just take your fucking pearl necklace. I'm actually having a panic attack thinking about it.
It's like PTSD.
It's really bad. Just him go, what the fuck am I going to do with this? And like 18-year-old Stacey's like, I don't know.
High school teachers were wild, man.
Yeah.
Like,
They didn't
I
care.
had some wild high school teachers.
Thank God
too.
we don't teach high school. It'd
No.
be bad. But I do like this scene where basically our guy knows something's up with Jonathan that has to do with Nancy and stuff. And we have this really cool cut back and forth
Yes,
of Nancy.
it's very well done.
Nancy and Fred, I believe
Yeah.
that's her assistant at the yearbook. And they're kind of going back
The
and
newspaper.
forth. The newspaper.
Yeah.
And they're going back and forth almost about how like they're reassuring themselves that they're totally fine, everything's okay. And it's almost like they're mirroring each other back and forth. And the scene ends with Mike bursting into the school newspaper's room being like, Nancy, you want to play D&D? And her face kind of says it all.
Yeah. So then we get Dustin calling Steve, asking him to play D&D that night. And this was like the best, like Eddie the Freak Munson, like, no, like,
Meanwhile,
I'm not hanging out with you.
Meanwhile, Megan and Stacey are like, that's going to be your husband one day. But literally.
Meanwhile, I'm over there like editing that scene. So it sounds like he says, Eddie, maybe he could be the one.
Oh my God, I do. See, that's why, guys, I was really excited to meet Megan. I was like, she's genius. But I love that he's playing with the slinky and stuff. And he's like, right away, as soon as he sees like cute girls come in, he's like, hold on, I'll call you back. And Dustin's like, you can't call me back. I'm at school.
I'm at school.
And it's just this montage to the song, Do You Want to Play? And it's literally them asking so many people and getting shut down.
Yeah, like wrestlers, like science nerds.
Yeah,
like...
and they're even bringing up, they're like, oh no, because of the satanic panic. And they're just shut down, and they're both exhausted, and they're like, I hate
Dustin even asks Max, which is a funny little moment.
That is the best.
Yeah, because she's like, if I play, do I get one of those cool T-shirts? And he's so excited. He's like, of course. And then he realizes that she's being sarcastic.
Like, literally one of my favorites. And I love that they're just so exhausted. And he's like, I hate high school. And then he looks up the hill, and he's like, got an idea.
Screw high school. Yeah.
And I love that he screams to the person going down the hill, wear a helmet. And they go
They're
up
running
to
up towards the middle school. Yeah.
They're running up the hill.
And this is another nice transition because as they're running up, you see Chrissy walking across the school grounds, and she's going out into the woods and finds this picnic table, and she ends up like hallucinating again like she was doing in the bathroom.
She sees a grandfather clock with spiders.
Yeah, it's in a tree,
yeah,
and like the glass is cracking and there's spiders coming out of it, and she moves backwards and ends up like running into Eddie. And we find out that Eddie is a drug dealer.
That
But
weed
he's
looks
the sweetest drug dealer that you've ever met.
guys, that weed
Um,
looked like shit. That was oregano. That was bad. But yeah, like you said, he's really sweet and he's kind of a little concerned because he knows she's spooked and she clearly doesn't know what she's doing and stuff. And he even tells her, he's like, listen, if you don't want to do this, we can just walk away. And she's like, no. And she kind of like vents to him a little bit. And it's kind of a really cute scene. You can see the chemistry between JQ and Grace. And he kind of brings up the fact, he's like, we know each other technically. This is the first time we hung out.
I love the line, like, do you ever feel like you're losing your mind?
On a daily basis.
Yeah. And they talk about how at the talent show in middle school,
Yep.
she was doing her cheer routine. He was in his band. She remembers the band's name was Corroded Coffin. And then she ends up, and he talks about how he's still in his band, that they play for some drunks once a week or whatever on Thursdays. And she ends up asking him if he has anything a little stronger
And his
than weed.
face kind of says it all, like, shit.
Yeah.
But we then transition back to the high school in California, where yet again,
Another asshole teacher.
we, after break, we need to talk. So apparently, Elle's claim of being best at math is kind of bullshit. And I'm sorry, someone who's really bad at math, again, what is she doing as a freshman in high school?
Yeah,
Thank you.
Poor thing. But as she leaves that class and she's walking out on the school grounds, Angela fucking trips her and she falls on the ground. She drops her project. They're smashing it. Like,
Yeah.
they're like the worst kind of bullies. And she's screaming and like wants to use her powers on them.
Yeah.
But like, it's a little embarrassing looking. Like, again, very hard to watch.
What the hell was that? And it's just like
Everybody's just watching
everyone's
and
at the
laughing
quad
at her.
looking.
Yeah.
And then the teacher, the shitty homeroom teacher, is like, Jane, did she do this? And she pulls Angela away. God knows. And like Will right away is so sweet, trying to help. Allie's like, don't worry, we can fix it. Her diarrhea, aka diarrhea.
Yeah.
And it's really, really sad. And I don't know, it just breaks my heart. But
Yeah.
we then go to the scene of Joyce breaking the doll. I love that she's got it rigged up and she's got her dish gloves on, her goggles,
And then neighbors are watching.
I love it. What is she doing? I'm Joyce, literally, and everybody else are my neighbors on my street. And Murray is talking to her on her cordless phone and with the paint can. And I love that, like, he's trying to go by it really carefully. And she just, like, lets loose and smashes it. And he's like, Joyce. He thinks, like, maybe she blew up. But she finds what looks like a ransom note inside it. So,
Yeah. And
cliffhanger.
it says Hop is alive at the top. Like,
Ooh.
so then I think that's the end of like Joyce's story for the episode. But in the gym, everybody's getting ready for the basketball game. Steve has brought his date.
Brenda, isn't it funny that like they're starting to win now that you've graduated?
Yeah. And they all sit down and guess who comes in to sing the national anthem?
Which I'm like, she's in Nashville, all the way from Nashville to our very own Thompson.
Thompson.
And literally the look on Robin and Steve's face is probably my favorite.
It's the best, yeah. But then she starts singing and Steve and Robin exchange looks and Robin says like out loud, I guess she does sound like a Muppet, like she's saying it to Steve, but Vicky overhears and she Robin starts to say like, I used to think she sounded good because I had a crush, and then she like stops herself.
Yeah,
like...
and it's a little awkward, but they do share this adorable moment. And I really love that as Tammy's version of the national anthem is playing.
Oh, wait, but Brenda is like, doesn't she sound amazing? And I think that's it for Steve.
Steve's face says it all. But then we hear the song continuing and marching down the hall is Dustin, Mike, and they found their sub wearing her American flag cape.
Yeah, and it goes into like the Jimi Hendrix, like electric guitar national anthem, like
Miss Erica Sinclair. the next scene is pretty hilarious. They're in the back drama room, and I love that, like, Eddie is sitting, like, on a throne, and right away he's like, so this is Sinclair's sister, and you just see Erica being like, he's sharp, and I love that, like, Garrett and the other guy who's called Freak, they're, like, literally giggling. You see Eddie give them a dirty look, and basically we get to see Erica, like, rip Eddie to shreds, showing that
Yeah.
she knows her shit. And
She schools him.
she schools him, basically, you long hair freak. And basically, he likes it. He's almost like, yeah, it's a Spitfire. And I love how he kind of smirks, and everyone at first is really nervous, and he, shakes her hand and goes, welcome to Hellfire. And we then go to, I will say for the Duffer Brothers, I do love that we start at the basketball game, and I love that eventually it transitions to that going back and forth between.
This is this is my favorite part of the episode, where we're going back and forth between the basketball game and the D&D game.
Yes.
And like we're seeing like them both have like their struggles, and they end up down. Like they're down at the end. Like for the basketball game and for the D&D game, and they're like in the basketball game they've got like their huddle going on. At the D&D game they've got like their huddle going on. And I do like at the D&D game we have the whole like Vecna lives, and like that's the twist. Yeah. And then the Detroit Rock City by Kiss is played.
Yep.
And they kind of make their plan in both cases. I like when they tell Dustin, like, the chances of success are 20-1, and Dustin says, never tell me the odds, which is
very
a Han
Star
Solo
Wars
reference. But Dustin and Jason both miss their shots.
Yeah.
And then at the buzzer, both of the Sinclairs take their shots in slow motion. And Lucas makes the basket, and Erica rolls a 20.
And it's
critical hit.
Crit hit. Yep. And it's just amazing. Like, I love Eddie's reaction, and then him just opening up his arms and smiling proudly, and Erica smiles back. Lucas immediately, like, I'm sorry. Like, I love how excited Steve was in the stands. Just a proud mom.
Yeah.
Just literally cheering.
I guess the other thing that we get was like when they're in their huddle and they're trying to figure out if they're gonna like go for it or not at the D&D game, you get Eddie like the whole there's no shame in running, like protecting yourself. So
that kind of is a common theme that comes up with that character. But I love that both of the Sinclairs have their moment in the sun, and right away everybody picks up Lucas, all the basketball players, and they're cheering. And then, everyone's so excited about Erica. But then we see after the game, Lucas is, leaving the gymnasium, and he looks over at the drama building, and he sees his sister and his friends who missed his game, and they're all having a good time cheering and laughing, and he looks a little hurt.
Yeah, it's interesting because, like, wouldn't you think that Lucas's parents would, like, have wanted, like, Erica to go to the game with them? Like,
she's sassy. They gave up, I guess.
Yeah. Like, I would sit on the bench when I played field hockey, and my dad, like, never missed a game.
That's
like,
adorable.
I know. So, anyway, Max is at her trailer listening to the results of the game on the radio. So she is kind of like invested in what happened with Lucas, but I didn't catch what was on TV. Did you figure out what was on TV at the trailer?
I want to say it was a Family Ties episode. I could be wrong. Courtney Cox, though, was guest starring, but they kept saying the name Billy, which I thought was kind of creepy.
I noticed that too. But the dog is barking, which Leia was watching this episode and heard the dog and was very interested in what was going on with the dog.
She's like, who's that?
Max cleans up a little bit and then grabs like some leftovers out of the fridge to go take to like the neighbor's dog.
Yeah.
And as that happens, she sees Eddie and Chrissy pull up in the van, and
I
Eddie...
always thought that was weed smoke coming out of the van. It's just dust.
Yeah, like dust from like the tires or whatever, but he's like, this is my castle.
Yeah, he right away opens the door. What a gentleman. But like it kind of like catches her eye, and she watches, and inside Eddie's trailer he's picking up some trash, and he makes a joke apologizing for the mess, saying that the maid took the week off. And Chrissy looks a little weirded out, and she's looking around. She's like, do you live here by yourself? And he's like, no, I live here with my uncle. He's working at the plant making the big bucks, and he's looking for, and she reveals what he's looking for. She goes like, how long does it take the Special K? Special K kids disclaimer, don't do drugs. It is a horse tranquilizer. It is ketamine. It is bad. Do not take it. It is a downer. So she's asking, like, how long does it take? And he's like, well, if you snort it, it should, kick in pretty quick. Right away, Eddie kind of thinks he knows where it is, and he goes into his bedroom. We see his electric guitar, which he
Sweetheart.
And right away he strums it and calls it beautiful. He's looking around, but Chrissy's in the living room, and she starts hearing a clock chime, and she gets freaked out. She calls for Eddie, runs down to the room, but instead of Eddie being there, who's there?
Her mom with the sewing machine. So it suddenly turned into her house, and she's running away, and the monster is there again. Her parents' faces are all gross. Like, she ends up seeing her dad.
And his mouth is sewn shut, which I think is symbolism for him not speaking up, because clearly his wife has this obsession with Chrissy and her weight, and it's very abusive, and he maybe just turns a blind eye and he keeps his mouth shut. So he's in his chair and his face looks all messed up, but his mouth is sewn shut.
And you see this rotting food on the table with flies and maggots and stuff.
Because it keeps cutting back and forth, and Eddie ends up finding it.
Yeah, Eddie comes out and he sees her frozen in the living room.
And I feel bad because her eyes look, first of all, milky white and glazed, and I like how they keep blinking. So at first he thinks she's kidding because he found the special K, and he's like, Chrissy, and he jumps in front of her and he's like, Chrissy, and then he realizes something's wrong. And I love how Joseph Quinn's acting, how right away he kind of almost leaps into panic mode, and he's like, okay, because you don't know if she's having a seizure, and he starts going the famous Chrissy, wake up, and he starts shaking her and waving his hand going, Chrissy, and
right.
It keeps cutting back to her, and she's trapped in her house. She gets to the front door, opens it up, it's all boarded up.
It's all boarded, yeah.
And she's screaming and crying, and just then this hideous monster, best way to describe it is it looks like fucking Swamp Thing. And It literally looks like it's a slime, made out of vines. It's like
tentacles.
It looks like our version of a fucked up Freddy Krueger. And he walks up to her and he towers over her. And he says, isn't it your suffering?
He tells her not to cry and says that it's time for your suffering to end.
And then he opens up his huge, long hand over her face. And just then, back in the trailer, she starts to levitate. And Eddie kind of jumps back.
Her bones are breaking.
Yeah, they start snapping like pretzels. And right away, Eddie, Joseph Quinn, lets out the most blood-curdling scream. And the last thing we see is her eyes actually get sucked into her head. And it's
disgusting.
To black. And it's we're going to discuss it when we do the Nightmare on Elm Street movies, but it's very, it's almost mirroring a famous death in the first movie. So much so that same night, my tattoo artist Shane was like, that was kind of the same exact scene. And I was like, holy shit. And much like I always compare it to the Harry Potter movies, it's almost like the series has grown with the audience, and now they know they're mature enough to handle this kind of dark content. But I remember looking towards my dad and going, this is going to be the darkest series yet. It actually shook me, and I love horror, but whoa.
Yeah, it was definitely just the whole tone of this first episode. The tone that it sets for the season is so much more intense than any of the other seasons.
100%.
So, yeah. But fun episode.
Yes.
An intense episode, and definitely, like we just said, sets the tone for the season. So I am definitely excited to go on this journey with you.
Absolutely. To Mordor it is.
Did you see that Ross Duffer posted that the third and fourth episodes are now finished? Which means
I am pumped.
That's all of volume 1, I think,
Yep.
for season 5 is officially completed, which is what's coming out the day before Thanksgiving. So that's so soon.
Bring it.
I know it's really almost 3 months away still, but it just feels like
it seems like it's right around the corner.
Soon.
Yep.
Yeah. Because we've been waiting for 3 years. 3 months is going to go by in a blink.
Yeah,
so.
And it's just crazy, and I'm just really, really excited. But it's going to be bittersweet. But we'll get into it later because I'll start choking up like a nerd.
Yeah. So speaking of merch, it's overwhelming me right now, actually.
Oh
Like,
my Lanta. So like literally things have been like it's cranking out already. And I knew that this was gonna happen. Like I think it's gonna get really intense once the episodes actually air and we start getting like Funko Pops. But I know Walmart has been cranking out a lot of stuff, especially with the food. But Five Below, like, really impressed me. They, like, have their shelf stocked. They have things from pillows, blankets. They have miniature gingerbread kits. I may or may not have gotten you one. Wink, wink.
oh, fine.
Right? So we should make it for the Patreon. You know yours will come
Yeah.
out better. And
We tried to do that last year, and
what the
It
way of the
was-
dodo.
yeah, just because there wasn't actually a kit out, so it would have been
It would
like a little
It
harder.
would have been just gingerbread houses, but this
Yeah.
year I will actually give you your gingerbread house, and maybe we'll make them for Patreon. But we definitely they got the mini gingerbread houses. They have bowls. They have puzzle
There's like little
pieces,
stuffed animals,
little
or
stuffed
something.
animals. They have
Yeah.
been cranking stuff out, and it's very overwhelming. Like I literally just bought an advent calendar, and it's all ornaments. Because I was like, oh, well, it's going to be Christmassy. I might as well do it. And I'll send you a link to it. Like, it actually looks really cool with all the characters. So they are cranking out the stuff. But I wanted to give a shout out to Suzanne, who is a very talented artist. They sent me a package, and they asked for me to actually open it up while
we're
recording.
recording.
So let's see.
So this is exciting.
Oh, Jesus. Okay.
She's having a little bit of trouble. She can't open. She
Wow.
opens packages like Joyce Byers, apparently.
I do, but there's so much. Okay. Whoa. Okay, well, first we have
It's so beautiful.
this beautiful tote bag with her amazing artwork of Mr.
That-
Curie.
Joe. Oh my gosh.
Oh, he looks
That is gorgeous.
beautiful. Oh my God.
I'm definitely gonna have to put the video of this part on the Patreon. for
This is
people.
gorgeous. Oh my God, honey. Wow. I guess it was confirmed he is in that music video for
Tame Impala.
yeah, there's if you go on Instagram, there's video of him shooting the music video.
I haven't seen it.
Kelly posted it just now.
Oh my gosh.
So there's that. Oh my God. We have cards of her artwork.
That's beautiful.
Absolutely beautiful. We have, this is so overwhelming, different cards of all the characters.
Yeah, she's been doing so many beautiful portraits
There's
lately.
like all these beautiful stickers of all of these portraits that she's done. Let me see.
You're gonna have to keep some and give me some, and maybe we can like send some out.
Yeah, there's
for
just
people.
so like speaking of Chrissy, R.I.P. This is back when she
Gorgeous.
had her eyes.
Poor Chrissy.
Poor Chrissy. A beautiful portrait of Mr. Eddie Munson.
I love that.
Those big
I
chocolate
need to get-
eyes.
I think I could. That would be beautiful, like the Steve and the Eddie. That Eddie, like just together as framed prints on the wall.
Oh my God, I'm dropping everything. Wow. Well, there was a keychain. It's somewhere in this mess of just
Amazing goodness.
amazing goodness. I'll have to look for it later. But it is
Yeah,
just,
you'll have to take a photo of everything.
yeah, I will take a photo. I cannot thank her enough. Literally, her artwork is spectacular, guys. Definitely look her up. I know that Miss Megan, I gifted her a bag, and I'm just
Yeah,
so
I love
proud
it.
of this amazing artist. And literally, these portraits are absolutely gorgeous. So thank you so much, honey. And oh, here we are.
Oh, the keychain.
Look at that.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, that's the photo that's on my bag.
That is adorable. Oh my
But
God.
I love the new one.
the new
Like,
one is just like, man, that man. What a man,
and
what a man.
that's Joe. That's not Steve. That's Joe.
Yeah, that's Joe. Oh my God, he's so goddamn handsome. But
Yeah.
no, 1,000 thank yous to her. Very honored to own all this amazing work. Like I said, I'm going to give you some, and then we might give some away at a giveaway. But this is amazing just to see all these amazing portraits. So big shout out to her.
Yeah, that was so fun. This was such a fun episode. I am just so excited to go on this journey of season 4 with you.
I cannot wait. So get ready, because not only are we going to Lover's Lake, we will be visiting Skull Rock.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe it.
Right?
Make sure that you follow us on social media at Skull Rock Broadcast, anywhere really, but mostly on Instagram. I'm at Steady Stories. Stacy is at Stay Still Reviews. And until next week, over and out.
Over and out.